Come closer.
All right, guys, and we're live again. So, hey guys, welcome back to the second portion of this. And we're going to start by interviewing Akiko about her upcycled clothing business. Once again, Cake is totally donation-based, and for those of you watching online, we actually have a PayPal button on our site that you can donate. And here we have Square as well, so if you don't happen to have cash on you, you can always donate with card as well. So let's just start with a little bit about you, I guess. So why don't you just give a brief little introduction, you know, your name and what you've been doing with upcycled clothing, kind of just your history of it, and then we'll launch into the business stuff from there.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Akiko Gucci, and about a year and a half ago, I started a business called Fifth Season Clothing Reborn, where I take discarded material like clothing and coffee burlap sacks and make them into handbags. Various types of handbags, diaper bags, fanny packs, shoulder bags, laptop sleeves, and things like that. And now I am working on a business plan to open a upcycled furniture and home decor, home goods store. So that's what I'm here for.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And had you been doing upcycled clothing before you opened up your business a year ago, before you opened Fifth Season, or?
I feel like I just grew up that way. I think my parents reused everything so much that it became part of my lifestyle, and we never threw away anything. We reused everything and made it into new things, and so for me it's like second nature to not throw away anything and just make it into, I guess, upcycling it. I didn't know there was like a term for it, but yeah.
Gotcha. And so when you started Fifth Season, did you mainly sell like to people you knew, or did you have an online shop, or how did you actually start selling your products?
I first started making yoga mat bags out of a pair of pants that I had, and then all of my friends wanted it, and that's how it kind of rolled into it. And then I was actually doing scientific research full-time down in California, and then I decided to quit that and start this full-time. And so that's when I moved up to Portland, and I've been doing that since.
Gotcha. And has the business been generating enough money for you to live off of, or have you been bringing in income other ways as well up here?
I had a part-time job last year for about 3 months, and then I got tired of working for somebody else, and so yeah, now it's totally fine. It's totally.
That's awesome.
It's gravy. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And how would you say most of your money comes in from that? And you're still running it right now while you're building up the retail spot too, right? Would you say most comes from online sales or from sales around Portland, like to kind of like word of mouth? Or how
yes, definitely Portland, Etsy mostly, and then boutique consignment and wholesale. I started focusing more on wholesale this year, which has been a lot easier to deal with. Like I just make it, send it off, sell it, done, you know. So,
nice.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that progression a little bit, because that's kind of a big one, from like making something for yourself to selling it to friends to getting it actually carried wholesale somewhere. Kind of delving into that process a little bit. So let's talk about just the first sale that you made, period. So you made a bag for yourself out of yoga pants, and then your friends started wanting it. Who was the first person who was actually willing to give you money for one of your products?
It was definitely my friends and family first. And then I started loading it up on Etsy, and my first sale on Etsy was it was a big deal. I was screaming and very, very excited. And I think that only started when I moved up to Portland. Yeah, because back in California I was still friends and family. And then that was a couple months, and then once I got up here and started it full time, I started selling.
Nice, that's awesome. And so just going through that first one, was it just that your friends were like, I want one of those, and eventually did you start making them for free for your friends at first, or did you like just start off being like, I can do that for you for like $10, or for, you know, how did you kind of like bridge that gap between doing something that's a hobby and actually getting people to pay you for it?
Right. I definitely was giving it away as gifts first, and then I did one street fair, and that's when my friends started paying me.
Nice. So at the street
they kind
fair
of just
was when
like
you
cued
actually
in themselves, and they understood the price range, and they started paying me.
Nice, I like that. It's almost like as soon as you put yourself in a venue where like paying you, like where you obviously kind of were a business, then your friends were like kind of the first customers who came in were like, oh, you're a business, that means we can give you money now.
Yeah. It was definitely when I had a business name, and then I got a business license and all that stuff, and so they didn't even ask for it.
Nice.
For free. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And what was the street fair that you
The street fair was at UC Davis, and it was a whole Earth Festival. Yeah, that's what it was called.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's still down in California that you did that one. Yeah, yeah. Nice. And then the transition to Etsy. You said now most of your money is coming in from Etsy as opposed to, selling at fairs or doing anything kind of just around like that. How hard was it to kind of make that transition for you? Do you have much technical experience with anything like that, or was it as simple as, obviously Etsy isn't the most complicated site in the world, but did it take some refinement, I guess, to get your idea up there? Like, was there months where you just weren't selling anything on Etsy after you first listed?
Oh, definitely. For the first, I think for about 4 or 5 months, I wasn't selling anything, and then it just started picking up. And I went to a lot of workshops through iHeartArt, PDX, or a lot of the blog articles that they have on Etsy, and they they recommend updating it every hour or something, putting a new thing up every hour. And so I did that for a while, and then it started picking up, and finally things started selling. Nice. So it definitely took a while, and it's yeah.
Do you think it has to take a while, or do you think that was like a learning process and eventually just kind of cued into the things that really help it sell, or do you think it's just like the slow building process where anything is going to take a while to?
I'm not really sure. I think it takes a long time just because it's so saturated. There are so many sellers on Etsy that it's so hard to direct your customers unless they know what you're selling, and then that's what they're looking for. I mean, if you look up upcycled bags, you have thousands of pages coming up,
Gotcha. So what was the turning point for you, or what kind of hit that threshold where you started selling? Do you have anything definitive, or was it just it started trickling in and didn't really?
I think it was definitely me getting involved with the Portland community and having my bags in various boutiques around Portland, and people started recognizing, and doing a lot of street fairs. I mean, last summer I feel like I was doing street fairs every weekend or every other weekend or something. So I, try to get out there as much as possible, and people were recognizing the bags, and I would have friends tell me, "Oh my gosh, I saw your bag at New Seasons today," or not that they were selling it, but customers having it. And so people started recognizing it, and I think that definitely boosted up the sales. And
nice.
Yeah, being more active on Facebook, getting into Twitter. Yeah, this year I started using Twitter, and that has definitely brought in customers. Mm-hmm.
So that's a good, that's kind of a good, I guess, pipeline to pay attention to for a lot of things, which is even starting with Friends, and even though Friends were the first sales, those didn't really roll in until you kind of launched in a more official way and started going to street fairs and things like that. Mm-hmm. And almost same with the Etsy. It's like an Etsy account without anything else going on is kind of just guaranteed to get lost in this giant wash of Etsiness. But then you start selling it, once again, local fairs, you start getting visible around, and suddenly your Etsy sales pop up as well. It's kind of like the more avenues that you hit and the more legitimate you make your business, the more that these other actual sales sources start rising as well. Mm-hmm. Which is the same thing that Kickstarter says as well. You pretty much just can't launch a Kickstarter campaign and expect it to get funded. It's a lot of work. Anyone who's launched a Kickstarter knows that. Same with Etsy. You can't just launch an Etsy shop and expect people to go there. It still requires all of that going to street fairs and all of that on the ground work and all of that getting it carried kind of wholesale. Which, let's talk about that now, because that's a really interesting step too, is the step to actually getting it carried at different shops around, kind of just getting those mass orders that you then send out to them. So what was the first shop that you pulled on for wholesale?
For wholesale, where was that? Oh my gosh. Oh, I think it was either Etc. in St. John's or Pie Shoes on Alberta. And the reason the Pie Shoes, or PA Shoes, found me was her husband saw me at the Alberta Street Fair, and then contacted me after that. And
oh, nice. So they contacted you. You weren't even going out trying.
Oh, yeah. I think all of my wholesales I have not contacted. They contacted me. They saw me on some blog or Etsy page or something like that, and which
nice.
Isn't really
flattering. Yet another reason to go out and kind of hit the ground, hit the pavement with your actual feet, and start getting around, getting really visible in as many ways as you can. Mm-hmm. Which is amazing too. It's amazing how much I see that kind of in a lot of smaller businesses started up. Is the successful ones are the ones that really do go almost to that more door-to-door even type thing, like going to street fairs, really getting out there visibly putting themselves just personally and physically in certain locations and just selling their stuff. more so even than people who just say, you know, oh, yeah, I had this marketing campaign idea and sent it out to, 200 bloggers, and they started tweeting about it, and then it just, like, launched immediately. It's much more, everyone who I talk to, at least in the small business field, much more this slow building and just a really, like, getting a few sales here and there and really not being discouraged and, like, going out personally to these areas and letting your audience and the passion build from there. And talking about market research, too, that's a really great way to find out what people actually want from something as well. Because the more you get that slow trickle in and the more you can increase that trickle, you start finding out the things that do actually get 2 customers buying from you instead of just 1 at this fair. And then you start getting up to 10 customers and you just kind of figure out what works. And that kind of market research, launching small, to me is once again way better than having a survey or something else, or just asking people if they'd buy it if you launched this product. And with Portland, with all of the street fairs that we have around, with all of the events that we have, with all of the even things like this, gatherings of really niche categories of people, you really can find those places to get yourself out in the field, and definitely take advantage of that here in Portland too. How many shops are you carrying now around town, or around? Are there any outside of Portland? I guess first of all, like, or is it all in Portland that you're?
It's mainly Portland, and then I have one shop down in California, and she found me so randomly. I was carrying Magbig on Hawthorne. They were carrying my bags, and Jen from Kit Kat Dizzy down in California was visiting Portland, and she saw my bags, and she ordered a huge wholesale order for her shop
awesome.
that she was starting down there. And so now I kind of want to branch out to California as well.
Yeah, definitely. So how many shops around town?
I think about 6.
Nice.
Sorry, I don't have them.
No, that's fine. What, are you supposed to run a business and keep track of it too? It's unreasonable. Perfect. Well, that's awesome. And then let's talk a little bit about the future too, and then I'll toss it to you for kind of more of a focus group and getting some feedback from these guys.
Okay.
So what kind of spawned the decision to open a retail shop?
The retail shop was actually what I wanted to do before I opened up Fifth Season, and this idea came to me, I don't remember, 2 or 3 years ago. And the idea is to open a shop that features local, handmade, upcycled furniture and home goods, right? And at that time, that idea scared the crap out of me. I had no idea how to start a business. I never even thought of doing it, and the idea of having a shop was really terrifying. And so I thought, okay, I'll start with this Fifth Season thing, and I'll just do it a little bit and learn. So at this point, I feel pretty confident. So now I want to really do it. So,
nice.
Yeah.
And then what are the other workshops you've been going to, or the courses that was also on Wednesday, the program you've been going through to kind of?
Yeah. Okay. So we just finished up the Mercy Corps Business Foundation course, which I highly, highly, highly recommend. It's a weekly course for 2.5 hours, and it's very structured. On a weekly basis, you learn something new. I think we started off with personal budgets, business budget, marketing, market research, projections, and you just go through this whole thing, each piece that you need for your business plan. And so the idea is by the end of the 6 weeks, you could have a business plan together for your business. So,
nice.
Yeah.
That's great. And so now you have...
It's Mercy Corps Northwest, and it's $150, but then you can get a scholarship for $75. Okay. I highly recommend it. It was really fun.
That's awesome. And so are you done with that now? You just finished up the 6 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Great. That's perfect. How big was the size of the group you were in for going through that?
I think 24 students.
Nice. That's awesome. And so during that time, what have you kind of developed? What are your actual plans for opening this up? And I guess more than that, how have they? So you knew that you kind of wanted to open up a retail shop, right? Mm-hmm. Sell upcycled clothing, like you have been, but just actually in a shop. What's changed, or since going through the program, have you kind of honed in on anything specific where you know that you want to sell a certain type of product, or has anything changed your vision of it in general?
It's definitely gotten bigger. Originally, I just wanted a small 1,000-foot square foot area with a small classroom on top, like a loft area. But now it's become more of a community service or community center where there is a retail front, and then now I'm thinking about having designers who would sell their stuff there have specific rooms that they can work on or work in, and then also display their stuff. and then a couple different classrooms for 3 different types of workshops. So it's turning into, because the idea is I don't want it to be just a retail storefront. I want it to be like a community building, interactive, collaborative space where people can learn about upcycling and how to do it and just kind of propel that culture forward.
Nice. So kind of like, yeah, latching onto the movement itself rather than just being, a shop.
Yeah.
I like that. Going back to the Mercy Corps program a little bit, I guess for the cake audience, if you could refine down just like one or even a few of the best ideas that you got from that, like was there anything that you found just especially really useful or little tidbits of information where you were so happy that you happened to be in the workshop that day? Kind of what are some of the key lessons that you've learned from that? Not to put you on the spot with that one. I know it's kind of like a broad one for like scrolling back through your memory.
I don't know about specific key like information, but definitely I got a lot of confidence out of it. Like I feel like I now have all these tools to go forward with this, whereas before I was fumbling with it. I didn't know even how to start a business plan or how to complete one, or what went into business plans and what I needed to do to research my market, or anything like that. And so I feel like this class definitely gave me the tools and the structure to complete that and
nice.
Make it a reality.
And so one of the last questions, I guess, what's the plan from here? Are you going to be raising money for the store, or how are you going to go forward with trying to launch it?
So I have some savings, and I'm going to apply for a loan through Mercy Corps and also do some sort of a Kickstarter. And I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to do that, but the opening date is April 1st. That's what I'm shooting for.
Just kidding. Yeah, no, that's a really good one, because then, if you don't launch, you can always change your mind and blame it on April Fools, Good. Very clever, yeah. Make a note of all that. Always launch on April 1st. Emergency back-out ejection plan, obvious, yeah. Great, that's perfect. And I'm trying to think if there's any other just like really supreme tactical things. So you definitely have a couple targets where you want to raise money from, which is great. Are you going to be looking for bank loans or kind of alternate sources? Or are you going to be mainly going with the Mercy Corps, the group you worked with, and trying to go through Kickstarter, things like that, less like institutional, I guess? Almost?
I think I'm going to stick with Mercy Corps just because they're really friendly, and I know what their system is, their application process and everything, and I know exactly how much, the range that they would give me. So yeah.
Sure.
I think, yeah.
Awesome.
I'll go with that.
And did you have like a reading list or anything for Mercy Corps too, or any books that you got that you'd recommend, or was it mainly just course information that they were?
Oh, it was just course information. Yeah.
Cool. Great, so that's perfect. And that's also a nice takeaway too, which is business does seem really overwhelming, and lots of times, even if you didn't really learn anything new, that's what I found going through a lot of the business education that I've kind of put myself through, is in the end I'm like, oh, that's all really obvious, and it's kind of how I thought the world should work anyway, just kind of looking at it from the outside. But actually having someone else tell you that, or reading a book where it lays it out, really does build your confidence, and you really do feel like you have this, like someone else backing you up and being like, oh, okay, that is just the way it works, right? It's like starting a business and being like, oh, I guess I'll just kind of do something I like for myself and assume that my friends might start buying it, and then from there go into like launching an Etsy and then try to get a retail shop. It's like, is that how you do something? And having someone be like, yeah, sure, like absolutely, that's how you do it, is like really encouraging for sure.
Yeah, that validation was really, it felt really good.
Awesome. So yeah, with that, I'm going to duck off camera here and kind of just transition directly into you getting a chance to talk with the audience. First though, did you guys have any questions for Akiko before I let her ask questions to you? All right, wonderful. I guess I'll give you a good enough intro to your business. Perfect. So with that, why don't you take over the reins? And,
cool.
Feel free to run wild.
Okay. So thank you guys for coming. And I wanted to get feedback from you guys. I kind of want to go over in a little more detail about what this business concept is, and then open it up for discussion or feedback, what you think is missing, or what else you would like to see this business do, etc.
That
Cool?
sounds great.
Okay.
Maybe we should take like just a 1 or 2 minute break here and switch the camera around so we get Akiko in the shot, or kind of like actually have a conversation going on here.
Okay.
Okay, we'll take just a little 1 minute